Hi, everybody. My name is Rachel Jewell, and this is
Essie Herman.
Essie Herman. And we're here today to have a little chat with you about the nature of experience in our relationships and how we're in a misunderstanding about how we relate and how it all comes about. So, Essie, I think you're going to talk to us a little bit about separate realities.
Right. Well, first I'm going to talk a little bit about the nature of experience.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what we're calling it. This understanding has been called by many names, actually. The inside out understanding, the three principles, health realization. So we're calling it, it doesn't really matter what you call it, but we're calling it the nature of experience. And so what we've both have been involved in is understanding how we work as human beings. And what we've learned is that moment to moment, we're having thoughts. And those thoughts are causing us to have different feelings. And everybody works this way. And so, of course, no two people are having the same thoughts. And so, what happens when you're having a relationship with another person and you don't understand this, right? So, that's what we're going to talk about today, how understanding this helps in many, many areas of life, but really impactful when it comes to dealing. It could be your husband, it could be your children, it could be your boss. Understanding how we work and how it affects relationships. So we call it separate realities because everybody is having their own separate realities with the thoughts they're having in their head.
Yeah. And none of us can actually ever think the same thoughts, can we?
We cannot.
Sometimes our thinking to us is obvious. It's like that's the obvious thing to do or the right thing to do, actually. But the way we're thinking about something is completely unique to us in our separate reality, really.
It is. And a lot of times we have this impression that other people should be thinking the way that we do. And that's where things can go wrong. It's trouble, right? Because it's like, of course, this is exactly how it's supposed to be because you're thinking it that way, not realizing that another person is having a completely different reality because they're thinking a completely different way. And so when it comes to relationships, if you don't understand this, definitely it could cause problems.
Because I think I certainly used to think that before I came across this understanding that the other person in the relationship was causing me upset or the other person was making me angry. And I'll give you an example of this is where, from time to time I suffer from IBS and inflammation, and I was having a particularly difficult few days. And my partner's very good. He does all the cooking, the majority of cooking. And he sort of called me for dinner, and I was really looking forward to it. And I sat down, and the potatoes were quite spicy. And he loves to put spice on everything, really. And I sat there, and I thought, why would he do that? Why has he put hot spices all over the potatoes when he knows how ill I've been the last couple of days? And I was like, oh, he hasn't noticed I'm not very well or hasn't been listening when I've been telling him. And, oh, he doesn't care about me at all. And it leapt quite quickly to, who is this person? Who is he? What's going on? And why would he want to hurt? Why is he hurting me? Why do you want to hurt me in this way? And the thoughts just sort of spiral, from just sitting down to eat to, well, that's it, we're going to have to break up, sort of one end of the spectrum. He doesn't care about me at all. He's getting more and more upset and more angry and not eating my dinner very much. And he's like, what's wrong, And I said, I can't believe you do this to me. Why would you do this to me? It's so thoughtless, and why have you put spices over everything? And I literally ended up saying, what were you thinking of? And he just looked completely shocked and said, oh, well, I wasn't thinking about that at all. And it hadn't even occurred to him, because he'd just been busy doing the cooking, doing what he always does, and always putting up a lovely meal. And as soon as he said that, I could see a complete genuine shock and, oh my God, I wasn't thinking.
Right.
And then all that negative, it was just, oh, okay. So once I
Right.
could see through
Exactly.
my, spiral of thinking.
So that's a really good example, because in your reality, he was doing something really terrible
Yeah.
and so insensitive to you. Like you even thought that this was it. You were going to break up with him.
Yeah.
And in his reality, he's doing something so nice and
Yes.
making a lovely dinner. And, it just never
Yeah.
even occurred to him. So that's like really a perfect example of separate
Yeah.
realities
Yeah.
and how it could affect relationships.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
mean, I've had so many examples of that
Yeah.
with my husband, with my children, with
Yeah.
really everybody, friends, family members. My husband also and I, like, he'll come home from work and maybe he's had a really stressful day, and he'll walk through the door and maybe I'll ask him a question or say anything, and maybe he'll be really upset, and I'm thinking, oh, like I must have really upset him, and that's not even what's going on. Like he's having all this thinking about his day and about his work and all his stressors, and I'm thinking, wow, like, what have I done? What have I done to upset him, right? But what we've learned with this understanding, not only are we having separate realities, but there's no way that he can do anything really to upset me, and there's no way that I can do anything really to upset him, because it's always coming from our own thinking. And when you learn that, when I learned that, instead of getting upset with him when he came home in a bad mood because he had a bad day,
Mm-hmm.
and feel like he did something wrong that was going to make me, angry or sad or whatever, naturally you become more compassionate. That other person is having some terrible thinking and it's causing him some terrible feelings. And because of that, he's not in a good place, right? And when you know that, you don't take it personally.
Yeah.
And so what the natural outcome of that is that you're going to have more compassion, right? Because when people are clear-headed, right, and they don't have a lot of thinking in their minds, our natural state is to be kind and loving and understanding. All of that is our natural state. But when you have a lot of thinking in your mind that's causing you a lot of angst, then you're not always the kindest or the most loving in that moment. And that's really helped our relationship a lot, because we used to take things really personally. Like I also had some health issues. And when I wasn't feeling well, I kind of just wanted to be left alone. And he would take that personally as, a kind of a rejection, right? But then when he realized that, my thinking was, I don't feel good, I just want to be left alone, then he didn't need to take that personally anymore. So really understanding this has been, for me and my relationship, has been really huge, where now neither one of us takes things so personally and knows it's not about me, it's about what's going on with them.
Yeah, so sometimes it's understandings referred to as inside out or outside in. So when we're looking at something outside in, when your husband comes home from work, your thinking starts up that he's angry with you, and it's something you've done, and the way he is, it feels like he's making you feel bad or wrong. but actually another person or circumstance can't actually make us feel something.
Right.
It's, that you're creating that feeling through your thinking. Well, I
Right.
must have done something wrong. He must be angry with me.
Right.
Yeah, and your feelings are coming from your thinking, not from actually what he said or done or.
Right. But since, like it's kind of difficult sometimes because if you're the only person in the room and somebody's in a bad mood and they're
Yeah.
kind of talking to you in a certain way, it feels really personal.
Yeah.
It's about you.
Yeah.
So really, unless you understand this or you're taught this,
Yeah.
it just makes sense to feel like it's about you.
Yeah.
But once you learn this and you see for yourself, what's going on, then it just really changes everything. It changes everything in relationships. And even with my children, like, if they say something that isn't nice, like, everybody has a bad day, then I'm not going to take that personally because I know it's not about me and it doesn't have to escalate.
Yes.
I can see, oh, you know what? They're having a rough time right now, right? So I can understand that instead of, it escalating into something bigger and bigger, when in actuality, it isn't about me and it's just somebody's having a bad day.
Yeah. And when I was thinking, when I was sitting at the table in the example I gave earlier, it's like previously that would have escalated because I would have acted on the thoughts and feelings I was having as though they were true.
Exactly.
And that can cause a lot of issues in relationships. It's when we start to act on what we believe to be true rather than what is true, it can cause a lot of upset and a lot of conflict, actually.
Exactly. Like how many times do people make assumptions about what other people are thinking? Because
Yes.
something pops into my head,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean it's popping into somebody else's head. Yet I will make an assumption about what somebody else is thinking, and then I will react on that assumption. That is just
Exactly.
nothing but cause problems between two people.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. We think we know what somebody's thinking about us, don't we?
Yeah.
But actually, we're making that up. We can't possibly know what somebody else is thinking about us.
No. And every different circumstance people are going to react completely different to every different circumstance, have different thinking about every different circumstance. For example, the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
Right? There's a lot of, we're in 2020, we're having a pandemic, and a lot of people are upset about what's going on, right? Their life's been changed. We can't go out and do the things that we're used to doing. We have to wear masks, all of that stuff. But I have some friends that are enjoying this time, who are having like a second honeymoon, who are home all the time, who are enjoying each other's company, who have like been happy not to be out in the world. So here you have the exact same thing, right? The exact same circumstance, pandemic. One person could be very, very depressed, and another person is having the best time of their life. So it goes to show you that the circumstance is not what's causing you to feel that way. It's always you're thinking about the circumstance.
Exactly. So that's been a huge event, hasn't it? Across, it's been, pandemic definition worldwide, and it's impacted across the world and the billions of people within that world. But actually, again, there are 7.5 billion different reactions or thoughts to that one event. And that's interesting because, again, my partner's had to work from home for the last 6 months, and his health has improved greatly, because his stress has just been reduced, in time, in traveling and trying to do 3 jobs at the same time, and actually it's been really good for his health, and although we've had to shield because of his health. Actually, his health, the irony is his health has just got better from not stressing and getting up and working long hours every day. And
Yeah.
and that's back to that outside in thinking, is it? It's like this one event, we must all be reacting to it in the same way. So it's the fault of the event.
Exactly.
Is the way that we used to see things outside in, and now we realize actually there's one event happening, but actually how we respond to it is within our own separate reality and our, as an individual, I think. Yeah. And there are lots of people, who've had a really hard time through the whole thing, and there are people that are saying, I'm having a great time getting to spend quality time with my husband, wife, partner, my children. I never thought to get this quality time with my children, And so it's a really good current example of how actually it doesn't work outside in, it works inside out, doesn't it?
Right. And that's true for really all circumstances in our lives, right? Even the little things. Right. Every circumstance out in the world, because of course, as we see with this pandemic, that things are going to happen out in the world. We're not saying that they don't. We're just saying that we are creating our own reality through the thoughts about the circumstance that's happening, whether it's a big circumstance or just getting caught up in traffic. Right? Everybody has different thinking about it. Reality can be, hey, I'm listening to music and it's a beautiful day outside. Looking out there and I'm enjoying myself. And another person's reality is going to be all stressed and this traffic and cursing and everything else. Same situation, two different realities. And the more we understand this, the natural implication of understanding this is that you just kind of live a little bit of an easier life. Understanding how you work, understanding how other people work, having to relate with other people in all different kinds of situations. Understanding this is a really big benefit. And it's changed my life in so many ways. Yeah, for sure.
So what would you say that it's brought you? Because I know for me it's, freedom would be a sort of umbrella label, but it's freedom from those assumptions, freedom from acting out on those sort of thought storms that I can have with people, freedom from trying to have to second guess everything, freedom from knowing that it's, if there's a life or world event, that it's, it's how I think about it. How would you say it's sort of
well, I used to be a real people pleaser. Like I always wanted to please people, and then understanding that everybody has their own thoughts, and no matter what I do, there's no way that my actions are not going to make other people happy. That happiness comes from them. It's been a big relief because I was always trying to make other people happy. And, of course, the people you love, you want them to be happy. But understanding that no matter what I do, I cannot make another person happy. Happiness comes from inside themselves, from their own thinking. And just to say, because I think this is really important when we talk about this, like peace and happiness and love, that's our natural state, right? So everybody, that's our default. Everybody starts there. And then it's our conditioned thinking, all the thoughts that we put upon that takes us from our natural state. So of course, each individual person is kind of on their own to explore this. And so you cannot make another person happy, right? And you and I are very passionate about this understanding because it's really changed our lives so much, and we want to share it with other people.
We do. We do.
They too can understand and see for themselves how it can change their lives in so many different ways.
Yeah, exactly. Because this understanding, you know, it applies to everything, doesn't it? And we're really excited that actually we're going to be covering this through several different topics, aren't we? And this
Yes.
one's around the relationships, but we'll be looking at other areas of people's lives and how it's helped us. And,
Right.
you know,
And it's not like we don't have all kinds of emotions, because we go up and down like everybody else, but just understanding it is very, very helpful. And knowing the human experience in itself is about having different thoughts and different emotions and feelings, you know?
Yeah.
But if you understand that, it makes such a difference, because then there's less self-judgment upon ourselves. And that takes away so much thinking also off our mind. So there's so many different areas that we're going to talk about on how this can help us and how it can help other people.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm so looking forward to that. And so I'm just going to get up a little presentation that goes along with this video, and you're welcome to ask for that to be sent out to you if you like. So this episode's been about the nature of experience in relationships, and the presentation is here, and I'm going to jump to the end where you can find, if I can jump to the end. Yeah. It's not jumping to the end.
That's okay. We could tell.
Okay, technical hitch.
We could tell
technical
people.
hitch.
You could find me, Essie Herman, at wellbeingedu.com, or send me an email at essie@wellbeingedu.com.
Yeah. And are you also on social media, Essie? Yeah.
I have a Facebook page at wellbeingedu.
Yeah, and there we are.
There
I managed to find the slide. So there you are. There's Essie, and you can find Essie there, where she said, at wellbeingedu.com and on Facebook. And my name is Rachel Jewell, and you can find me at One Woman's Journey. And please feel free to get in touch with either of us, and we look forward to joining you joining us next time. And I might have learned then how to screen share a bit better.
Well, thank you for the beautiful conversation, Rachel.
Oh, it's been lovely. Look forward to next time, Essie. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Take care, everybody.